Welcome back to On the Market, York Region's radio real estate show. Over to my co-host and our real estate expert, Asif Khan from Remax Prime Properties, with today's guest. Asif.
Thank you, Tina. And joining us is the CEO of the Ontario Real Estate Association, Tim Hudak. Tim, welcome back to On the Market.
Hey, Asif. Great to be here. Keep up the good work. And I just want to say before we get into the interview, fantastic job at our reality conference a couple of weeks ago. It was an honor to have you on our stage, and you did a fantastic job hosting that panel, Bulls versus Bears, right? Where's the real estate market going? And with the Battle of the Economists, you did a great job.
Tim, I was honored to be a part of that, and congratulations on a successful and very positive reality conference. Everyone that left there and attended just had rave reviews about it. So, kudos to you and the OREA team for putting that on.
Yeah, thanks. We had about 1,200 people there, and we're thrilled by that. And we like to say the reality conference is the best stage to get a sneak preview of where the market is going and, how you can grow your business even during a more challenging market. And, we got experts like you on the stage. It was fun to interview President Bill Clinton, too, to learn about what he did to increase home ownership. We could do that in the province of Ontario, no doubt. Anyway, thanks for being part of it, and we were thrilled with the success. And we'll be next time, 2024, in Ottawa.
Looking forward to it. And, closer to home, Tim, last week, Ontario's Auditor General released her report and the changes already being worked on in the industry with regards to RECO. Tell us a little bit about this report.
Yeah, you bet. I think the dust is still settling on it from over a week ago because the auditor does a really important job for us in Ontario. My past 21 years in the Ontario legislature, we always look for the auditor's report because they're an objective officer of the Legislative Assembly. They're agreed to by all political parties, and their job is to make sure that taxpayers are getting value for their money and that government operations are running efficiently. And we had encouraged the auditor to look at RECO. RECO plays such an important role. That's the Real Estate Council of Ontario. They're basically like the judge, the referee for real estate transactions. You have a complaint about your experience in the real estate process. You go to RECO. They make sure that everybody is registered as a registrant or a realtor, meets educational standards and ethical standards, enforce code of ethics. They got a really important job to play, and that's why we were pleased to see the auditor look at them and say, okay, what are they doing well, and what needs to be improved so that we have the most trusted real estate market anywhere in North America.
And a lot of this report referred back to REBA 2002, and TRESA does address a lot of what was in this report, does it not?
Yeah, exactly. So that's a good way to put it. So RECO, as sort of the judge, the regulator, enforces the legislation. But the legislation's dated. It was done in 2002, when you could buy a house in Toronto probably for about $200,000, and in Durham for $120,000. It's not exactly the state of affairs today. So we've been pushing for some time, including with help from leaders like yourself, Asif, to get that legislation modernized and to make sure that realtor at your side, making the biggest transaction of your life, is going to be a trusted advisor with high standards, a strong code of ethics, and a disciplinary system that will back you up as a buyer or seller if things go wrong. There's a lot of improvements in that legislation. I mean, higher fines that reflect the modern market, a greater ability for the regulator, RECO, to suspend or revoke licenses altogether, to deny people who shouldn't be in the profession from getting a license in the first place, more tools for realtors like personal real estate corporations, and better, more clear information for buyers and sellers. That's all really good. So, our biggest point of view on this is, the auditor pointed out some important changes to make to get things done better, higher consumer protection. A big part of that is in this TRESA legislation. So let's get moving and get the regulations passed to make that a reality and get to those North American leading standards.
And consumer protection is the bottom line. What does a report like this do for the trust that people put into a realtor or for our governing bodies, Tim?
Well, it builds trust. Here you have, somebody who is arm's length, has no skin in the game, and her team of, forensic accountants and auditors to say, all right, Do we truly have high consumer protections when it comes to real estate purchases and those who get their license in real estate? Is the regulator operating efficiently? If there's a complaint, do they get back to people in time? Do they actually inspect brokerages on a regular basis and focus their resources on the bad actors in the system? Are they giving the boot to people who shouldn't be in real estate in the first place? And there's been a lot of progress made, but the auditor gets some really good ideas to get to another level, to make sure if you have a complaint, it's done faster, that brokerage inspections are done more efficiently, and resources are targeted at areas where there are problems as opposed to a scattergun approach.
And you did a lot of work with TRESA, the Trust in Real Estate Services Act. Tell our listeners what the Act is and how it addresses some of these issues.
Yeah, you bet. So the Trust in Real Estate Services Act, that was passed in 2020. It was supported, by the way, ASIF, by all the political parties. It passed with unanimously in the House. You don't see that very often, but it shows that it was needed. So it'll do things like enabling the regulator to be more focused on being proactive and getting data to figure out where the bad operators or trends are happening and focus resources there. Here's another one, to deny people access to the profession in the first place who may have a criminal background. So to say, no, you can't get in because you're involved in a fraud before, for example, suspending and revoking licenses because too much in the past. People saw that there was a slap on the wrist instead of tougher punishment when it went to a different adjudicated body. So give RICO a greater ability to say, hey, you've crossed the line, you're suspended, or you're gone altogether from the profession. And also changing some terms. There's something called customer-client. If the realtor is acting with a customer and a client, it makes it more clear that the client and a self-represented party, just for clarity, if two people are using the same realtor, the realtor will have a fiduciary duty to one party, the other one they can give some services to, but they don't actually have a fiduciary relationship. All of this stuff is very important to getting us to being North American leaders when it comes to protection when you're buying or selling a home.
And it certainly does increase transparency and helps not only the consumer, but also broker owners such as myself, where now we know who we're hiring and we'll be able to eliminate those bad apples, per se, that have made the spotlight for all the wrong reasons just over the last little while, would it not?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we at the Ontario Real Estate Association, same point of view, asset that you have with your brokerages, right? If somebody has been involved in a criminal proceeding, they take advantage of somebody, they break the rules, we don't want them anywhere near a future real estate deal, and they should get booted. That's what TRESA helps do. Here's another example the auditor put out that we are encouraging. There could be a time where the fine is actually less than the commission that a realtor made, and they broke the rules. That doesn't make any sense. So we've been saying at OREA that if somebody breaks the rules, they should be punished, and they shouldn't make any money out of the deal, right? The entire commission plus should be taken out of their pockets to send a very clear message. The auditor agreed with that, so hopefully you'll see that take place.
And Tim, how does this impact the perception of what others may have about our industry?
It is going to enhance it. Basically, the auditor gave a number of recommendations, many of which we agree with, and many of which RICO has said, yep, you know what, we're going to do that, to make sure that if you do have a negative experience, they respond to you more quickly, that it goes through their review and judicial process much more efficiently, and to make sure there are tougher fines and penalties, and the ability to take away somebody's license altogether, to have a tougher gate to get in if you want to be in the profession based on, your previous record. And then I really like the notion of pinpointing the resources they have based on a statistical analysis of what the trends are. Where are bad activities taking place, and they can focus their resources there. So I think this Auditor General's report, no doubt, because of the objectivity, they go through it thoroughly, top to bottom. It takes months for them to do these reviews, and then some very good ideas for going forward. I think these ideas are implemented, many of which we had brought forward ourselves before. That would give assurance to a buyer or seller in Ontario that they'll have the highest standards of protection of any province or state in North America.
and thorough it was, 51 pages, and I did go through it. As far as when these new rules with TRESA go into effect, when would that be?
Well, so some have gone into effect already. For example, personal real estate corporations, which gave new business models for realtors to help invest in the business, hire more people, get new technology. It's in a series of stages. There's going to be a new code of ethics. There's going to be a new option for consumers on how they sell their home, what would be an open offer process where content of offers could be shared among prospective buyers. That's an opt-in process that will be coming in April of this year ahead. Tougher fines are in place, but then by April, a better ability of the regulator to suspend and revoke licenses. And then ultimately after that, the next work will begin for 23-24 for specialty certifications for realtors. Just like lawyers, Asif, where lawyers are called the bar, they can practice law, but then they will specialize often, right? They'll be labor lawyers or corporate lawyers or family lawyers. So too, realtors can actually put out a shingle and say, you know what, I'm a specialist in commercial or waterfront or working with seniors. And it'll be backed up by business, by educational courses, and enforced. That's a very exciting development. It'll take some time to get all the details right, but I suspect you'll see that probably in 2024. These other changes coming up, I mentioned, in April of next year, so only 5 months away.
And Tim, will there be higher academic standards required, and will the education process change at all?
That was not part of the auditor's report. We certainly think that it should be. Look, when you're making a decision about where you're going to live, the importance of investment, what's going to happen down the road if you sell it for retirement, you're raising your kids there, the value of real estate and the complexity of the exchange, continues to increase over time. So therefore, you should raise the bar when it comes to educational standards. And we also think that we could do a better job when it comes to the continuing education that realtors need to do. The courses obviously will update realtors on any changes that are taking place, but they could be more demanding. So we'd like to see us, just like we're seeing on the administration of discipline, the ability to investigate and gather data. That's all good stuff to reflect what is becoming an increasingly precious investment, your home. So too, Asif, educational standards should continue to rise and make it more demanding to get in the door in the first place.
Tim, always great information and great to speak with you on the market. If our listeners want to find out more about TRESA or any of OREA's initiatives, where can they do that?
Absolutely. The best place is our website, OREA.com. You can hear about our plans to raise the bar when it comes to professional standards and ethics. You can see our review and link directly to the auditor's report that we just talked about today at OREA.com, or you can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all across the board, LinkedIn as well, under OREA, the Ontario Real Estate Association, or me, Tim Hudak. Asif, thank you for your leadership in calling these issues forward. Really, really good to be back on the show.
Thanks, Tim. I hope you have a great rest of the weekend.
You as well.
As a reminder, if you have questions for On the Market, hit send anytime to info@1059theregion.com. But Asif, if our listeners prefer to contact you directly, how can they do that?
Okay, they can always reach me by phone, 416-985-CON. That's 416-985-5426.
And if you missed any part of our show, go to 1059theregion.com or wherever you get your favorite podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Audible. I'm Tina Cortez. Thank you for listening.
Need to connect with Asif Khan from RE/MAX Prime Properties? Call him 416-985-KHAN. That's 416-985-5426. Or email asif@thehomeshop.ca.